This is The Speaking Show. I'm David Newman, and you're tuned in to the #1 podcast for speakers, consultants, and experts who want to speak more profitably. Mark Hunter, CSP, you are the high profit guy. High profit selling, high profit prospecting, high profit everything. I love that about you.
I guess I love that. Or no, my wife loves that too because we get money. That's right.
Money in the bank. So let's talk about prospecting. You have this fantastic book called High Profit Prospecting. Speakers don't do enough prospecting. Am I right? Am I wrong? Is this just among our community, or do salespeople and business owners not do enough prospecting too?
Nobody prospects enough. We just, oh, no, I don't want to prospect because I'm so good. The phone rings all by itself. Liar, liar, pants on fire. If the phone's not ringing enough, it's because you're not calling out enough. And hey, even if it is ringing enough, raise your fees. Isn't that great?
So by prospecting, let's be clear, you used the phone example there. We're not talking about cold calling. There's a whole variety of prospecting tools at our disposal.
There are so many ways to prospect. People get scared of picking up the phone and calling. There's so many ways to call because, hey, I think it's easier to get gigs today than it's ever been. Whoa, what did he just say? I really do, because there's so much information about everything out there on the internet. All you have to do is spend a little bit of time on the internet and then pick up the phone and make the call and find out.
So you are saying that the phone is really your primary first tool.
It is my first tool. It is my primary first tool because, what I want to do is, my personality doesn't come through in emails. My personality doesn't come through, but it comes through on the telephone. It doesn't discount social media. It doesn't discount all that, but that's what creates the platform. That's what creates the awareness. But when I can call somebody and have a conversation, yeah.
So you don't send an email first. You don't connect on LinkedIn first.
I'll just pick up the phone and call. I'll hear that somebody's having a conference, somebody's having an event, and I just pick up the phone and call. Yeah.
Wow. So can we work through that call?
Sure.
Okay.
So yeah, it might be that I'm on Twitter. This is a little hack for sales speakers. Go out and follow Twitter and notice what hashtags are being used out there, because it's amazing how conferences use their hashtags. And guess what? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to find that hashtag, see what's being used for that conference, and then I'm going to go online, see what the meeting planner is, see if it's an association, and then I'm going to wait for a couple days after that conference, and then I'm going to make the call. And I'm going to comment that, hey, great conference you ran. You ran a great conference, and I know you're... Then I want to find out first, what are the challenges that they're facing? I'm not necessarily saying I'm a speaker. What are their challenges? What are the outcomes? And hey, it's always about putting people in the seats, right? Well, guess what? That's what I'm going to help them out with. Then I introduce myself, and I get a dialogue going. I'm not trying to make one call and get an engagement. I'm not about that. What I do is I want to create an opportunity for you to share with me the outcome, and then I'll share with you how I'm going to help you.
This is huge. We're going to back up the truck.
Back up.
Beep, 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 beep. What you just said is your first call to an association executive, a meeting planner, a conference producer. The event just happened. You saw a lot of Twitter activity with the hashtag. You call them up and you say, hey, I noticed your conference all over Twitter, all over Facebook, all over social media. It must be something pretty fantastic. What are some of the things that you're working on now that the dust has settled? What would you like to have happen next year? What are some objectives for your meeting? Now, they're not saying, well, who the heck is this? Or, hey, buddy, who are you? Or how do you introduce yourself?
They probably are. And I'll say, yeah, well, it's great. No, I'm Mark Hunter, the sales hunter, and I love to come in and help conferences, and I speak at conferences on sharing with them all about sales. But then I immediately come back to a question. The objective is not to have them asking me questions. I want to be asking them questions.
You want to be in charge of that first contact.
I want to be in charge of that first contact, because if I'm talking to you on the phone, I treat you like a bobblehead doll. And I want to tap that little head and get that little head moving. And the more I get that head moving, the more information you're going to share with me. Because I don't want to get into fees. I don't want to get into dates. I don't want to get any of that until you've shared with me your pain. What's that outcome you're looking for? What are the challenges you're facing? Then I can begin to put the plan on the table.
So they'll say things like, we'd love to get more butts in seats. We'd love to have more exhibitors at our trade show. We'd love to have more sponsors in our program book. We'd love to have more, raise the fees for what we're doing. We'd love to get a better deal on the hotel. all of these different challenges, some monetary, some not monetary, some about their reputation, some about member retention, some about member engagement. Yeah, we only had 27% of our members come to the conference. We'd love to have it be more like 40. And so you're gathering all of this data. And obviously you're doing this in a very relationship oriented, very kind way, a very supportive way. That first conversation is data collection, and then what else?
Data collection, and then I'm just trying to get to a next step. Well, that's great. So what is your plan for putting together an agenda for next year? Who might be some of the other people involved? And I'm going to let my personality come through and let them kind of guide me what the next step is going to be. I'm not going to try to rush it, because here's the whole thing. The last thing they want to do is be sold, but they want to know that somebody's going to help them. So if I can help them, then I hit a home run. My goal on that first call is to earn the right, the privilege, the honor, and respect to be able to come back and talk to you again. And then I can have another
So
conversation.
give me an idea of how you like to end that call. What's your favorite next step or next action that you like to set up with them?
Sure. They might share with me, well, next year we're in this city, and it's going to be a challenge because of the time zone or the location, the cost. And so we're going to have a little harder time getting people there to attend the conference. Boy, I'll tell you what, that means it's really going to be promotional efforts. Promotional efforts. Oh, yeah, well, good. Well, then, you know what? I'm going to give you a buzz here in a couple of days or in a week or so. And I got some ideas on maybe we could put together some videos and so forth ahead of time. You see, now what you're doing is you're helping them. You're helping them with the conference. They may not even selected a theme. Last thing I want to do is rule myself out. All I want to do initially is make sure that you're qualified to be able to hire speakers. That's really all I'm trying to do on that first call.
Hey, good looking. Are you currently getting paid to speak? Would you like to ramp that up? We can help. Book a confidential speaker strategy call with our team at doitmarketing.com/call, and let's see what we might do together. The call is free, but the results may be priceless. But it also sounds, and this is huge, brilliant strategy, I think. You're acting as if you've already been hired, and we haven't even talked about hiring you.
I really am. I take the assumptive approach because, hey, if you're a speaker, you got to believe in yourself. And I know you believe in yourself. And if you don't believe that you can help somebody, then why are you even making the call? So I know I can help you. It's just a matter of how am I going to help you and what's going to fit best. So I believe in myself 100%. I believe in the outcomes that I'm going to help. That's not being arrogant. That's being confident because of the competence, because we've seen success in other organizations.
And so some of the value items that I'm sure you're offering is, let's do some videos before your event. Let's maybe put some blog articles out there. Let me interview some of your board members, and we'll showcase that as coming attractions as we're leading up to next year's event. When do you do that pivot? When do you think you've earned the right, that you've added enough value to the front part of that conversation to slowly pivot things to, let's talk about hiring me for real?
Once you've shared with me the kind of the outcomes that you're looking for, or the challenges, then I'll say, great, you know what I can do is I could sit here and put together 3 videos that you could send out. I could put together a couple blog articles we can do all these kinds of things, and that's great. And then really what's really ideal is that I don't necessarily want to open, but, well, let's talk about the schedule. See, and I'll say, so what would be the schedule? See, now what I'm doing is I'm asking the meeting planner what the schedule. So I'm really just inviting myself into their whole discussion. And what really happens is that I become such a key part that the fee, and it's not a fee, it's an investment, because nobody hires you. They're looking to make an investment for an ROI.
Right. X dollars in, 5X dollars out.
Right. And it's not fee for an hour. It's not, you're going to pay, you charge this much per hour. No. It's about that outcome. And what I do is I'll put out 2 packages. I'll give you a package. Here's the package of everything I've described. And it can be high. And I'll let you go ahead and puke all over it if you want, because then I've got plan B. But I don't sit there and say, well, if you don't like plan A, I can give you. No. I wait for you to give me feedback. And you always don't go in with, is that a little bit high for your budget? Well, what do you think they're going to say? Well, yeah, they're going to try to nickel and dime you down. They are. That's their job. So you don't give them an out. What I do is I put the package on the table and I just wait. And waiting might mean waiting a week or 2. But I wait for them to respond back to me. I wait for them. then and only then I'll say, well, okay, if that was, what we could do is we could take some things. I don't cut my fee, I cut my services. See, fee integrity is incredible. So I can reduce my fee, but what I'll do is I'll take out the videos, I'll take out the phone calls, I'll take out other types of preparation stuff. So basically, really what I'm doing is I'm actually increasing my margin, which really is kind of strange, but I'm actually increasing my margin.
Yeah, no, that's brilliant. So just to be clear, you have two packages in mind, but you only present the A package at first.
Yeah.
It's a very simple, here's what I can and will do for your event.
Let me give you a real live experience I had just a few months ago. A company wanted to bring me in for their national sales meeting, and it was great. Knew what their needs were, critical, competitive industry they're in. Their sales force was getting beat up. I knew I could deliver. CEO is going to be the final one to make the decision. And it's a good-sized company. And the CEO had wanted to call me. And I knew this call was coming. And the CEO goes, first words out of the CEO's mouth says, your fee is really high. Do you think you can cut it? Whoa. And I said, no, but I can change the value. And I immediately said, now, I understand that you got a real competitive pressure happening in the second quarter with new companies coming on board or new competitors coming into the space. And he said, talk to me about how your sales force is going to respond to that. And he began talking, and he stopped and said, that was really good. I asked you to reduce your fee, and you got me talking about my problems. You're hired. See, what I did was I couldn't have had that discussion if I didn't know what their challenges were. See, if you go and start talking fee before you know what their challenges are, all you are is a dollar speaker. You have to get what is the outcome, what's the challenge, what are they looking for? Then you put the fee on the table.
Right, absolutely. I think one of our colleagues calls that a spreadsheet speaker, meaning that, let's put 7 guys in the spreadsheet and then look across for the fee number, and then the lowest one, that's our guy.
And that's not the way I want to live. That's not the way I want to work, because my outcomes are going to be significant. Because I knew that, sure, I was going to be probably more expensive than he wanted to spend. But the challenges that they had as a sales force, and let's not kid ourselves, the fee that you pay to bring in any speaker is chump change compared to the cost of the people coming to the meeting.
Right. Exactly right. Now, do you sometimes use that contrast in a prospecting conversation where you say, how many folks are coming to the meeting? What's their average salary? How much are these people costing you on a daily basis? What's their performance? How many of them are meeting quota? These kinds of questions?
I love asking them a couple of questions, such as, wow, so you're really under this competitive pressure. So what do you think your risk could be to earnings for next year? Oh, it could be, we could see a 10% drop in earnings or whatever. Oh, 10%. And you're currently making $200 million. So that's that could be a $10, $20 million. Oh, yeah. See, now what I'm doing is I'm getting them to say that this is a $10, $20 million risk, 10, 20 million. So my fee is chump change.
Yeah.
I should be increasing my fee.
You should.
Yeah.
You should. I think you're easily worth $20 million.
Oh, yeah. 20. No, okay.
So let's go back to just the lack of quantity and quality prospecting time that most of our speaking colleagues are suffering under. So obviously, if your topic is sales, and Mark, your topic is sales, this is going to come way more easily to you than it might to our listeners. What are some baby steps to get them into prospecting, besides, of course, buying your book, High Profit Prospecting? Besides doing that, which they really should do, seriously, what are some baby steps to get them going on a daily prospecting health plan?
First of all, make the time on the calendar. Set the time on your calendar. It's amazing how, really, I think even you this morning probably took a shower this morning. You take a shower every morning, you make prospecting calls every morning. You literally set the time on your calendar, and you do not allow other things to interrupt. People say, well, gee, I never get around. Thinking about prospecting is not prospecting, okay? That's a simple thing. People say, well, gee, I set time on my calendar, but the phone rings and so forth. Then I go, okay, do you answer the phone when you're in the restroom? Now, most normal people don't. I would hope you don't. This is the way I take my prospect time. It's sacred. Client may call, but I'll get to them in 20 minutes, half an hour. If I just can't make prospecting calls. The first call you make is to a favorite client. Call a favorite client. And you call them up and they're, hey, great to hear from you, David. It's great. Oh, yeah, meeting you did. And you know what's interesting? That client you're talking to is psyching you up. It's motivating you. It's making you feel really good. So guess what? That allows you to make prospecting calls. Here's another quick thing. And I tell this to every salesperson. Every time somebody compliments you, write it down on a piece of paper. You get an email, something, you write it down. And you keep all those pieces of paper right next to you when you're making phone calls. because now you see all these success stories. You see all this stuff. You go, wow, this is really cool. Because the biggest reason we don't make prospecting calls is because we don't believe our own self, our own mind. The biggest obstacle we have to overcome is our own mind. And when you look at those pieces of paper, you look at those emails, you look at those phone calls that you've printed out, go, wow, I've really made a difference in people. That really says, I've got to have this call because you need me. And if you think about it, that's the difference between an average person and a really superstar person when it comes to sales.
Yeah, no, absolutely. What a great episode. Wowza. Tell you what, if you want to ramp up your revenue as an expert who speaks professionally, you should really check out our free online training at doitmarketing.com/webinar. So I want to go back to something that you just said in passing, which is hugely important. When people say block time for prospecting, I'm thinking, oh, this is like a 2 or 3 hour block. You said 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Is 30 minutes a day enough? Is that a good start?
It depends on where you are in the business cycle. For instance, I normally like to say, I don't want to, and I tell this to salespeople, I never set aside less than 2 hours for prospect. Now, I think for speakers, we can say it's just an hour. But here's the whole thing. You don't spend that hour preparing to prospect, okay? Tomorrow begins today. I'm going to say, who are my 10 people I'm going to call tomorrow? And I get that list today. I do all that work today. So then come tomorrow, when I have that time set aside, I make those 10 phone calls. And I can cruise through those 10 phone calls very, very quickly because, let's not kid ourselves. You're going to get voicemail a lot. Oh, but hey, nobody answers voicemail. So yes, you leave a voicemail.
Oh, let's talk about what's the magic Mark Hunter voicemail.
Oh, this really rubs a lot of people. It's about 11 to 14 seconds. Whoa, that's radio time.
That's true.
11 to 14 seconds. Because all I'm saying is that, hey, I'm Mark Hunter. Got some ideas for you regarding next year's meeting. Give me a buzz, 402-598-6194. David, give me a buzz, 402. And you notice I try to repeat my phone number twice. Now, I'm not expecting them to call me back.
You just want to plant the seed.
I just want to plant the seed. This is like a billboard along the side of the road. You're driving between two cities. We'll say you're driving between Dallas and Orlando, coming to the NSA, influence. And you might pass 100 McDonald's along the way. And before you get to each one, there's going to be a billboard along the side of the road. You see those signs.
Oh, yeah.
Doesn't mean you stop at every one, but somewhere along the line, you may want to use the restroom or get something to drink. McDonald's is going to come in your mind. So I don't hesitate to leave that voicemail. I do not hesitate. And oh, by the way, what's very interesting about the power of short ones is because it's amazing how more and more voicemail systems translate voicemail right to text.
Yes.
The last thing you want to do is be looking at a long text.
Yeah.
Oh, this guy was short. Okay. Somewhere along the line, you are going to touch base with them on the phone.
Right. The short ones get answered.
Now, here's a key thing regarding prospecting. It's found every morning in your shower. Every morning we encounter this prospecting tip in the shower on that bottle of shampoo. Repeat, repeat, repeat. I'm going to call this association once. Well, that is not going to result in a gig. Oh, I can't call them 3 times. Oh, yes, you can. Yes, you can. Because every time I'm calling, I'm delivering value. Hey, I just saw some information regarding this. Hey, I just saw this. It's not about me selling you. I'm sharing with you critical information. Somewhere along the line, you're going to connect with them and they're going to say, because they're not going to see you as a speaker. They're going to see you as an asset.
And as a resource.
As a resource.
So these 3 calls, are we doing this 3 calls within a 5-day work week, 3 calls over the period of a month? How soon are we putting these together?
This is really kind of creepy, but I go 6 MPM, 6 messages per month. So I'm going to hit you 6 times in 1 month, and it might be a combination between phone call and email. Oh, I'll just send them email. Well, let me tell you something. You send somebody an email too many times and they don't respond. What happens? It goes into their spam filter and they never see it. No. So I always mix it up between. I might try to reach you 6, 7 times over the course of a month and you don't respond. Okay, then I'll back off. I'll back off and I'll go to a different list.
Yeah.
But I'll come back to you in 60 days and I'll put you back in. See?
Love
so
that.
I kind of work organizations through cycles.
And are these primarily associations where you want to speak, or you do this with corporate decision makers also?
My main market is corporations, see?
Okay.
I just enjoy the corporation market, but it works for both. Now, what's interesting is between associations and corporations, dramatic difference in time setting. Associations select speakers, a year or 2 in advance. Corporations, it's 60 to 90 days.
Yeah.
So, it can be 45 days. I've had prospecting calls where literally I know that it's only because I've been bugging you so much that now I'm in sales and the VP of sales says, I like this guy. This guy's like, I want my people to have this same approach. Sales is prospecting, sales. Ooh, sales, It's fun. It's fun because I get to influence and impact people. Now think about that. If I get to influence and impact people, that's a kick in the pants. That's fun. Isn't that the same thing we do on the stage? See, I look at my prospecting calls as really nothing more than an extension of what I am on the stage.
It's the mini presentation.
And it's letting your personality come through.
Right.
Because when your personality comes through on the phone, and if I can't have fun with you on the phone, I probably don't want to work with you.
Great point.
I have an expression, I can't take a Walmart shopper and make them a Nordstrom customer.
It's true.
So if you're going to be a idiot jerk on the phone to me, I really don't want to work with you.
That's very, very true. Let's talk about another thing. Let's talk about something else, because as a sales speaker, you have a very clearly defined target market. So you're always selling to the VP of sales, senior VP of sales, chief revenue officer, chief sales officer. If we're doing leadership or customer service or team building or presentation skills, or in any other business, obviously all of your clients' businesses, how do you advise them to identify their ultimate decision maker if it's not quite as clear-cut as it is in your own business?
Well, there's a couple things that I take a look at, and this is really for anything. What we are all in this industry, in the NSA community, is about people development. A question I love to ask when I'm interviewing people or when I'm talking to people, prospecting, people say, what's your speaker selection process look like? What have been some of the obstacles you've run into in the past? Now, this is what's interesting. If I'm having this discussion with you, and it's a very casual conversation, we're just talking on the phone, you're very relaxed, you're going to share with me the truth. Have you ever noticed how when you share with somebody your fee, the conversation changes?
Oh, very much so.
Now we're in the negotiation block and boom, 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 boom. So I love having these conversations up front. See, long before I've talked about fee. So, how do you guys go about this? What are some, HR has to get involved. Oh, I see. And then you get purchasing. And I can joke, the dreaded purchasing department. You can talk about those. But then, we just have to send it there for contract approval. But these are all those little things that you get out. So regardless of what your message is from the platform, what I'm talking about here works for you. It's just having that casual dialogue. And it's amazing how that conversation comes. And really, if you think about it, it's no different than an attorney doing a deposition. Why is an attorney doing a deposition? Because they got to get that information before we go to trial.
Right.
And trying to do it in a little more, oxymoron, relaxed situation for a deposition.
Right. So really, it's about interviewing them about their buying process, right? Tell me about your speaker selection process. Tell me about your schedule. Tell me who else is involved, who else is in the cast of characters that we'll be working with. Sometimes use that collaborative language, yes, like the we.
I do. I always use that we because on the corporation side, they always say, we've had bad luck with speakers, or we had this problem, or we had that problem, or something, or we had this person in. What does that tell you? That tells you the type of person they brought in. You look at a meeting planner, and what's a meeting, a meeting planner criteria is going to be different than what a bureau, I got to talk in their language. I've got to talk in their language.
Yeah. All right. There's our prospecting toolkit. Mark Hunter, thank you so much.
Hey, great selling.
Well, that wraps up another episode of The Speaking Show. Hey, tell you what, if you like us, rate us and review us on iTunes. Subscribe. Tell a friend. Go grab the notes and downloads and extras at thespeakingshow.com. See you next time.